Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sutniewski. Thank you so much for popping back mid-channel. I hope you guys had a really awesome Christmas. I hope that you got to spend it with people that you love and adore and that you made awesome memories that are going to last you all through the years. And I hope you didn't talk politics. No one should ever talk politics during the holidays. It absolutely ruins everything. Okay, so today's tutorial was a request from Outdoors in Maryland. He wants to know how to do a lightning effect in LumaFusion. Before I jump into the tutorial, I just want to say, whenever you're doing a special effect for your video, it's always better to do it in camera and not in post. In other words, try to make that special effect happen while you're filming your video instead of adding it while you're doing your editing. Now, I'm not saying that you have to film your video during a lightning storm. Absolutely not. Because really, what are the chances of that? Very slim. But you can buy a light. I just reviewed the Bowling P1, and this happens to have an effect in it that is a lightning storm effect. It also has a flickering candle and a cop car. I mean, there's so many different little effects that are in this light. It's really cool. I'm rolling the Bowling P1 Vlogger light in that lightning mode. So as you can see, bam, there's a big lightning strike and then a couple of little ones that follow, nothing for a little bit, and then a couple of other ones in quick succession. There's no rhyme or reason to lightning. It's very sporadic. So that's what we're going to do in LumaFusion. But if you have one of these lights or a light like it, it's best to get that while you're making your video instead of adding it in post. Before we get started, I just want to say the video clip that you're using, just make sure that, it makes sense that there's going to be lightning in your scene. You don't want to use a beautiful summer sunny day without a cloud in sight. It just makes no sense. So go ahead and drop the video clip that you want to add the lightning scene to. And to really make it super authentic, of course, you're going to want to add sound effects. So if you belong to Storyblocks, they have plenty of different thunder sound effects to choose from. However, if you don't have Storyblocks, you're going to have to get your sound effects from somewhere else. I happen to have a thunderstorm on my channel that I had done a video of a few months ago. It's several minutes long. You have my permission to go ahead and pull the audio from that video and work with it. Just be careful because I babble on a lot in that video. You don't want to get me in the background. So what you want to do is add those sound effects down into your audio lines. Now, there was not one that I was totally happy with, so I added a bunch of them into the different audio layers. One really long one, and I threw in a few different short ones to work with. Now the fun part. Let's go ahead and add the lightning effect. And how we're going to do that is by hitting the plus sign at the bottommost toolbar, and we are going to choose Overlay Title. And what we're going to do is stretch that title out for as long as we want that lightning effect to take place. So from here, we're going to double tap on that title. Now, immediately what we want to do is throw away the text. So we're going to hit your text here until the garbage can icon pops up. We're going to throw that away. So now let's hit the plus sign and we are going to choose shape, and that's going to drop in a white rectangle, which is perfect. That's what we want to work with. So let's scroll down here until we get to scale. And we're just going to move the scale up until this white rectangle covers the entire screen. So now what we want to do is go to Frame and Fit. And now what we want to do is go to blending and pull the opacity all the way down to 0. Now we are going to, make sure we're all the way to the very beginning of the clip by hitting the leftmost left arrow key. Drop your first keyframe. That's going to lock in that opacity at 0%. So now what we want to do is listen to see where those lightning strikes come in. Okay, so right at about 4 seconds. So what we want to do is just bring this back right before the 4-second area. And what we're going to do is add our second keyframe. Advance a frame. And now what we're going to do is bring the opacity up to about 30%. Advance a few frames. Bring it down to 0. And every time you move the slider down to 0, that's immediately going to drop its own keyframe. We're going to advance a few more frames, add another keyframe, advance a few more frames, and bring it up into the high 60s. Advance a couple frames and bring it down to 0. And we'll hit play again. Okay, so right around 8.5 seconds is another strike. So let's go ahead and add another keyframe, advance a frame or two, and now we're going to bring that up again into the high 60s. We're going to advance 2 frames and bring it down to about, I don't know, somewhere around 10%. Advance 2 frames from there and bring it up again into the high 60s. Advance several frames and bring it down. So when you advance it several frames while that opacity is still high, that's going to give that lightning effect a nice long decay. So let's go ahead and listen to it again. Okay, so at about 14 seconds, we'll bring it back down there. We'll add our next keyframe, advance a frame, bring it up again to about 30%, advance a few frames, drop that down to 0, advance a few frames, add another keyframe, advance a frame, bring it up to the high 60s, advance a few frames, bring it down to about 10% again, advance a few frames, bring it up again into the high 60s, advance a few frames, and bring it down to 0. So let's listen again. And right about 19, almost 20 seconds is going to be another thunder. So let's go ahead and add our next keyframe, advance a couple of frames, bring it up to the high 60s, advance a few frames, bring it down again to, let's go 0, advance a few frames, drop our next keyframe, advance a frame, go up again, advance several frames, bring it down again. Okay, so let's go all the way to the beginning. Well, let me exit out of this just to see, where we are with this so that you get an understanding of what it looks like. And that's basically it. I'm sure you have the general idea of what I was trying to teach you with the lightning effect. Just make sure that you're matching the lightning up with your sound effects. And for some of those lightning flashes, just make sure to have that nice, long, drawn-out decay. Thanks again to Outdoors in Maryland for making the request of the lightning effect. I very much appreciate it. And guys, in case I don't drop another video before the end of the year, I think I will, but in case I don't, Happy New Year. I hope your new year is filled with love and blessings, happiness, good health, prosperity, abundance, good friends, family, and joy. And most important of all, right? Peace on earth to everyone. Well, I thank you so much for watching. And until next time, wear your sunblock.